Welcome.
What's up, Nigel?
Hey, how's it going? Great. Good to see you again.
Look at this. See, I love this. So my bet here is either you want to have a completely white room that you are just locked in, or you need to have something that represents, the deep curation and style. And so,
country estate.
Yeah, country estate is a great. All right, Nigel, you're the co-founder and CEO of BetHog, which is a crypto-native casino and sportsbook on Solana, and you're previously the co-founder of Fanduel. So maybe if we could just kick off, can you speed run us through the journey at Fanduel, and how did it actually become the leader in U.S. sports betting market with, I think, over $5 billion?
Oh, wow. Okay, you're opening a big one. Yeah, I've been in online gaming for 25 years. I was with Betfair, which we would call a prediction market back in 2000. We called it a betting exchange. I started Fanduel in 2009. The company originally was started as a prediction market. We launched that in 2008. We ran that through the 2008 election cycle. It did fantastic right up until, election day. And then what we discovered was, elections are great, but actually it was sports that drive just all the daily attention. And so in 2009, we pivoted and we turned HubDub, the prediction market, into Fanduel. Launched that summer 2009. That was a daily fantasy sports product initially, sort of speed ran that, sort of 3 to 5x year-on-year growth every year from 2009 through till sort of about 2015, 16. Then the next big unlock was when sports betting became legal in 2018. And, so we went from 0 to 150 million revenue, and that's sort of 2017, and then from 150 to 8 billion this year. So that obviously accelerated growth. So quick sort of run through.
Okay, well, I find that really interesting because Jared and I, prior to the show here, we're actually talking about prediction markets, and I think actually maybe you can frame up this question, because I think your question was solid, JD, which is do these things just all become owned by the sports books eventually? It feels to me like the unique parts of prediction markets are maybe where you guys started, right, with elections and non-traditional information, and yet most of the volume right now is coming through sports betting. But yeah, it's kind of a for many people a less good experience.
So prediction markets have been around for probably 20 years. We obviously launched HubDub in 2007, so it's nearly 20 years ago, but there was ones who did it before us. Betfair is a betting exchange, but a betting exchange and prediction market are really the same thing. And it launched in 2000. I think what we have discovered before is that if people can bet on anything, and literally anything, in betting exchange, you can bet on anything. You can bet on anything in the UK. It's going to be dominated by sports. Why is that? Well, sports has an incredible calendar of events every day. You also have a big population of people who care about that sport and are willing to risk a lot of money. And so sports just dominates. The other category, what sort of dominates but other is probably 2% of the market. What dominates that is elections. Elections, again, it's a big, event that lots of people care about, but it doesn't have the frequency of sports, right? It's okay, we have presidential elections only every 4 years. There's a big drop from presidential then to, say, midterms. People are kind of interested, but not at the same level. And then New York election, big drop again. So that's what we're seeing. The big thing that's changed in the last, I would say, 12 months, one is just crypto on rails. So you can get money into these things much easier than you could before. The other thing is the potential that prediction markets can be legal in the US through this sort of CFTC avenue. That's been a really big unlock, because before, you couldn't do that, right? You couldn't offer it to people in California and Texas under a federal framework. That, if it holds, is going to be very, very big. But that new market is still going to be dominated by sports, right? There's not, things like interest rate decisions. Yeah, that's kind of fun, but it's a very, very niche compared to, there's more people that care about, the Oakland A's than interest rate decisions, right? It's and that's sort of way down this kind of list.
No, it's It's so funny, I mean, it's obvious when you say it, but it's funny to hear you say it because even the convenience of betting is just infinitely better. Like I remember being in high school and having to wait for a $500 check from like the Virgin Islands and pray to God that it would come. And now, and now, you know, as we talk about crypto and, you know, we talk about stable coins on the on-ramp, off-ramp and everything that you're saying in the regulatory environment, you know, I think we also forget that crypto does have a very opportunistic angle here when it comes to
and you know, from an operator perspective, payments is a nightmare. Like at Fanduel, we were paying 15 to 20% of our revenue went to payments. No one got any value from it, and the product was terrible. Like you know, we would have what's known as friendly fraud, which is a user deposits money, the next day decides, you know what, I didn't really want to lose that $500, and they, you know, and then they basically claimed their credit card that was fraud. The credit card then puts the blame on the operator, us, and so you're like, wow, we're paying you guys 3%, you do absolutely nothing. And so crypto is incredible unlock for the online gaming industry and prediction markets being part of that.
All right, so I'm curious how you went from that sort of history and then into founding BetHog. Like, what's the core insight here, and what are you building?
Oh, absolutely. So, you know, got into crypto around 2020, sort of very deep into the NFT space. Sort of saw that crypto is it's a great demographic. It's young male, it's risk seeking. And one of the things we identified is we actually built a crypto-based betting exchange called BetX. It's a global one, and it's, again, very, very focused on sports. It's actually doing very well at the moment. It was built on Solana. We've just sort of optimized it over the last 12 months. But towards the end of 2023, what I saw there was an opportunity was in casino. So where I saw casino was really interesting market, big market, global casino markets, about 60 billion. The crypto part of that is about 10 billion. So you can actually offer a better product, crypto. You can offer more value back to customers. So you're not having to deal with like fiat payment rails. I also saw that of the, you know, there's probably 1,000 crypto casinos, only maybe 2 or 3 were the founders' docs. And I thought, this is insane. Like, people are sending tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to these sites, and they don't know who the founders are. Like, and these sites are very lightly regulated. Additionally, a lot of these sites didn't really invest in the product to the extent that I thought they should be. And so our thesis was very simple, which is, we're going to raise money, we're going to focus on building the best product in the market, and then we're going to market it to customers. And that's essentially what BetHog was. The idea was like building, you know, incredible engineering team that are going to build a really incredible product, and then go to people and say, we've got a better product. Oh, and also you can trust us because, you know, we have names. You know who we are. We're you know, we want a really legit product.
So how's that going? Can you give some stats?
Yeah.
Like, how's that progress been made?
It's been the first 8 months of this year was all focused about product. So continually upgrading the product. And only what I say really in the last month have we said, now we are a tier 1 product and we're going to step it up. And we have. So this month, we look like it's sort of 4x growth on last month. It's sort of growing almost too fast, which I rarely say, but it's just, you know, the volume of, you know, and a lot of it is very sort of VIP driven. It's, you know, these really big players. We need to have the systems in place in order to kind of handle their volume. But it's been incredibly fast growth. The other thing is we've really kind of prided ourselves as in product innovation. And we have a product, I can't announce it today, but we are in the last stages of a product innovation, which, like, honestly, I think this will be transformative to the industry. It's taken something that only probably could be built in the last 6 to 12 months, and we are releasing it, and we're really, really excited about it. I can give you one clue about it. Our biggest game today is blackjack, and we are going to make it a lot better. And that's our sort of focus, and that's what we focused on the last 6 months. And so we should be launching that the next couple of weeks.
You a blackjack guy, JD?
Oh yeah, big time.
So what's wrong with blackjack in your mind? I'm going to see if we can pull us apart.
I'll tease some things. So a lot of the blackjack market is live dealer. And I love live dealer. I think it's a lot of fun. But the problem with live dealer is it's very variant on the dealer itself. And so how do we make sure it's often that dealer is just like very flat and boring and very automated. How do we make that better? That was the problem we gave ourselves, and we think we have an answer.
All right, so we got some Elon Musk anime AI agents going to be dancing around here. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we are testing it internally, and I'm like, I will never play online blackjack a different way than the way they would have it. So,
have you taken an approach on the product side, like because it's being built in crypto? Yes, we want to leverage like traditional games because that's how you could get a lot of top of funnel interest. But are there specific things that you think could be pulled out just by way of crypto and how people trade crypto and how they leverage crypto that actually could evolve these games or make that more nuanced?
There's definitely opportunities there. Like one of the things that we're obviously doing is we're rewarding players for playing with us. We are going to launch our own token. We're being very transparent about how that process is going to happen and who we're going to reward. We reward people for play. There's a lot also in the mechanism. Once we do the token drop, we're going to reward people for holding the token. So that's something. And so in its essence, that you're just going to, if you keep the token on site with us, you'll basically get a weekly dividend. So there's a lot we can do there. In terms of the core games themselves, there are certain things. So for example, we've got a game called Huddle. It's a crash game, but the whole idea is that every 30 seconds a new coin launches and it crashes at some point, and as long as you exit prior to that point. And so that game has been really popular among the kind of crypto native group. So there's a lot we can do both in terms of the sort of culture around crypto, but then also what crypto is good at doing, which is rewarding people for certain behaviors. And we're leaning a lot into that as well.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by the sort of gaming layer over top of perps that we've seen starting to emerge as well, like sort of UXs. I think Euphoria.
Yeah, so there's a product that just launched in the beta yesterday called Multiplier. I know that team there. Really interesting product. The way it works is it's kind of, they've taken some sort of more traditional crypto casino products, but the prizes you're getting are in different meme coins. And so what that means is those meme coin communities are super keen on it and they're promoting the product. And so it's a kind of combination somewhere between a casino, but also like a way of promoting those different meme coins. So it's a really, really interesting product.
So I'm curious, I mean, it seems as if casino games are the focus for BetHog, but obviously you run a sports book as well.
Yeah.
And I think one of the big open questions that we always have is this idea of like, how do you actually compete with these massive incumbents that are just literally spending, I think gazillion is the appropriate term here, of dollars on acquisition, running their own media brands, et cetera, et cetera. Like, do you see a wedge there?
Yeah, so one of the interesting things is, so Fanduel and DraftKings are like, they dominate the market and the sports betting market. Between them, they probably have at least 70-75% of the market. They have each had millions of users, and they have budgeted over $1 billion a year. But today they don't operate in California, Florida, Texas, and a number of other states, whereas Kalshi does, for example, or if you are a CFTC approved prediction market, you can operate in those states. I also think that there is innovation there. Like, they've gone down an approach, and it's been very successful, of being very focused on building out particularly like single game parlays, very high margin product. Users will love them. But the one thing they don't do, and they're not that interested in, is really trading. Like, they are like, this comes as a real surprise to some people, but if you are a profitable player on Fanduel, then your account is going to get limited. Right? In fact, people are always kind of like surprised by that. And I'm like, that is the model. The way that they ensure their profitable businesses is that they limit people that beat them. Right. So that, to me, in a way, kind of totally limits a big potential of the market, which is people who are, could be successful or near, that can actually trade. Also, trading in itself is a really fun experience. And so I do think there's a market opportunity that they haven't really embraced, which is trading. And again, that's where I think actually we can see, real growth in.
Yeah. Yeah. I had this idea. It was like a stupid tweet probably months ago, but it was this notion that, I think I think more people would get excited about crypto and trading and like the games behind trading if there was some sort of like point system or credit system where you may not lose, $1,000 on a single meme coin bet.
Mhm.
You're interested in meme coins, you want to learn through meme coins and play. Well, maybe there's like a trade-off where, you put 1,000 in, you get 5,000 credits, and then it kind of feels less like it kind of brings down, that risk. And I fully agree with you. Like I think of like when like the biggest game in the 90s was like Taupe Wars, where you could be a drug dealer. And I would never, I didn't become a professional drug dealer, but like, it's fun. It's fun to play those games. And even people who aren't professional traders probably want to, not to equate those things, but probably.
Well, I think there's a huge trading culture in the US, and and I think there's a huge number of people that, aspire to be a professional sports bettor. The biggest problem is a sports bettor, and I know quite a lot of professional sports bettor. The biggest problem is not building models and being able to identify edges. It's actually getting on. It's actually placing that bet at a scale where you actually could be professional. I think it would be enormously exciting that there was a huge, liquid market where those people could trade against each other and compete. That doesn't really exist today. There's definitely an opportunity for it.
Yeah, I was having this conversation just earlier this week with some folks who were professional sports bettors, and that is the issue. And if you think about the market opportunity, or there is an immense amount of volume, especially if we look at, I think, there's some stats that came out around Polymarket that 0.2% of the users are the driving 50% of the volume. Obviously, there's some fees there, but there is a ton of volume that is sidelined here. That is just, it seems like a very different market than what accesses these traditional sports betting.
Absolutely, I absolutely think there's that excites me, and I think it is an enormous market, and it is sports. Like that's a funny thing. It's like I know a lot of these like to put other things to the front and sort of say, oh, it's event contracts and a little bit of sports. Sports dominates. It's going to be 98% of the market.
Right. So you tweeted, casino betting for a living could replace labor in a post-AI world. I'm curious if that was a shit post, or do you think that's where things are actually heading?
I think that was a shit post. I'm trying to think what I was thinking of that one. That's a great post, but no, I don't think I fully believe that.
What's your take on sort of the financial nihilist trend that seems to be often associated with this sort of growth in betting and meme coins, etc.?
I think it's fascinating, slightly disturbing. I as an entrepreneur, like my primary motivators is about like building fun products and working with people I love working with, and being able to do that every day. Like that's amazing. But I also I'm personally a gambler. I've gambled all my life and I love it. But it's controlled. I also but I sort of somewhat think startups a little bit of an extension of that. Like I like being in a position where my time is focused on building a product that can have very high payoffs for everyone involved in it. The idea that some people are sort of like, oh, I can't get rich through hard work over time. I have to just sort of like YOLO everything. I think that's quite disturbing. I don't know to what extent it's a meme and to what extent it's true. Like I've my gym trainer, like he trades options, and clearly it's entertainment. Like he likes being right, but I don't think he does it thinking, oh, this is going to be like life-changing money. I think most people in my experience are like better at kind of risk management than people would suggest. I think when people, again, this is most people, I'm very aware of problem gambling. There are people who have huge problems. I think some people, and I even include myself in this, have had crushing losses, whether it was investing or trading, and that's a very good experience for them, because they just have to go, you know what, I was an idiot. I'm not going to put myself in that position again. But like I personally am risk seeking, but I also like have my own sort of personal risk management. I do think some people, and maybe younger people, are YOLOing, but I think they also learn. Like, I think I give people more credit generally. Again, if someone's got a problem with gambling, then that doesn't happen. But most people I know that maybe despise that, like, I think they just need to go through a crushing loss and then go, you know what? That's if I have responsibilities, I'm not going to do that. I'm not. That is not.
We had the founder or co-founder of Euphoria on, which is one of these sort of gamified perps exchanges. I don't think is out yet, and he was really making the point that go through that loss young so you can bounce back, which I thought, and I think it was sort of part of this broader conversation of the belief in the agency of the human being, ultimately the core, and the sort of the challenge of paternalism. But I think where this comes up is like, I think it's a big psyop, as I guess my take, this financial nihilism. And I think it is really, if it is truly taken on, it gets it in the way of the most important force in the world, which is compounding. And I think, Charlie Munger has this great quote, which is the first rule of compounding is never interrupt it unnecessarily. And I think sort of these short-term games really do interrupt that. And I think that even in your answer here, we're sort of looking at this, if you zoom out a little bit, these are compounding lessons, learnings, relationships, competency, competitive advantage, et cetera, that continue to grow. So,
and I do like, so there's attractive parts to it, which is, I love the aspects of society that are risk seeking, that are entrepreneurial. I do think that that's how society moves forwards. Where it veers into nihilism, it would be concerning for me. Like, the reason you want to be successful and you want to be excited about technological innovation and kind of growth and economic growth. Like, those are good things, but there is definitely a flip side of people think that it's all about YOLOing, or that the other one is that there's some number that transforms our life and then they're happy. Like, that's just like, I'm old enough to know that, I've been sort of believing that if I just got to X, then, everything would be perfect. And you get to X and then you're like, wow, that, X is not, so maybe some people need to go through that and go, there's not this sort of magic number, your life gets perfect.
All right, last question here, Nigel, before I let you go here, my man. Why build on Solana? Is Solana the best place for you to build BetHog?
So we started work, when I got into crypto sort of 2020 or 2021, I've only ever been interested in building consumer products. I remember looking at crypto in 2017 and I was like, this stuff is totally not ready for consumers. Like, it's barely usable. And so Solana then was really the only product that, the only platform to build on. That I felt. I also just felt that the community and the founders of Solana were never going to go, you know what, $5 transaction fee is fine, right? Like, it was kind of core to their ethos that it had to be fast and cheap. It had to be built for consumers. I also felt that they were much more sort of product focused. They were like, I just hate this, like, infrastructure on infrastructure on infrastructure, and trying to get, pretend to get excited about, sort of different L2s and different. I just thought, this is ridiculous. Like, this is just building more and more roads and no cars. And the problem is, like, the cars come first and then we build the roads. And Solana was much more app focused. And so that's why I kind of fell in love with it. I think they've done an incredible job. It's nowhere near ready. It's nowhere near done. And so, but I still think they're a very strong leader, and where I think builders who want to build consumer products want to build.
Nigel, appreciate you hopping on with us today, man. Congrats on all the growth, and we'll be excited to follow along and hopefully pull you back in at your next major milestone.
Great. Thank you very much.
Cheers.